This channel is supported by my online fishing courses, and you can learn more and get significant discounts at saltstrong.com/Skinner. I'll have links to all of the gear in the video description. All right, I've got kind of a windy day here. It's really blowing along in the bay, and it's, I could kayak fish, but I like doing this wade fishing, so this seems like a good day to do it, because if I had the kayak out, I'd really be spending a lot of time pedaling into the wind, which is forecast to get stronger than this. So gonna do some bay wading and see if I can catch some fluke that way. All right, there's been some bait moving into the bay, and whenever that's the case, I really like using these Gulp 5-inch sand eels, especially on the teaser hook, which just a plain hook. That's a 3/0 Gamakatsu bait holder hook, and just thread one of these sand eels on there, and that is just deadly in this kind of setting if the bait's around. And then on the bucktail end, I'll have something like a 4-inch swimming mullet or a small Gulp nemesis. So this is a nice setting here. I probably have more than 100 yards that I can go to my left, and I've got a channel out in front of me and a little bit deeper water there, probably as much as 20 feet, and the current changes along this stretch as well as the depth. Now, one thing I've found, like where I'm starting here, it always looks good to me because I know I've got some deeper water right out in front, moving water, but I always have, or very often have, a problem with sea robins right in this particular spot. But as it usually works out, I can usually move away from them, and yep, it turns out, boy, within like 4 or 5 casts, boom, it's sea robin after sea robin. But I'm not too discouraged because that's just the nature of the spot. And when I move up to my left a little bit where it gets a little shallower, for whatever reason, the water's moving better, I tend to get a lot more fluke than sea robins, usually. And a question I often get is, what are you doing this too many sea robins? The only thing you can do is move. I don't know of any way that you can cull fluke out from among sea robins and reduce the number of sea robins. If they're around, you're stuck with them. You just have to try and move away from them. All right, if you like this video, please hit the like button, and if you're not already a subscriber, please subscribe. And if you hang in there until the end of the video, I'm going to show you what YouTube sends you if you get 100,000 subscribers. There you go. For some reason, I always tend to get the fluke on the shallower end here. So this bucktail weight is 3/4 of an ounce, and that's usually a good weight for this kind of fishing. Okay, when this cast hits the water, I'm going to let it sink to the bottom, and the way you do that is you just watch the line. The reel is engaged, and I'm just looking at the line, and you'll see some slight little change. Maybe a touch of slack or something, but you just have to watch it carefully, watch your line. When you see that little, it's like a tick. When you see that, it's bottom. And the nice thing about this is it's a sandy bottom, and I don't have to worry about snagging. As soon as I hit that bottom, I'm going to start jigging that rod, and I'll show that retrieve in a bit. But I'm looking to get a lot of action on the jig, just like in the boat. There's a fluke. There we go. No doubt about that one. These fluke head shakes. Oh, nice one. Or nicer. Go ahead, you can shake off. Come on. So this is a weekday, which is nice because otherwise I'll be dealing with boat waves like this almost constantly. Some of these boats throw a pretty big wake. Alright, so that one's a little better. Getting a few fluke. Oh, another good one. Ooh, this one feels like this one could be keeperish. I'm already really liking this rod. Oh, well, there's the problem. I had to wait, I had the head shakes, but yeah, I knew there was a fluke on there because I could feel the head shakes, but the weight came from the fact that there were two fish on there and one being a sea robin. The comment on the rod, yeah, this is the Tsunami Carbon Shield. It's the MH. The one I used in Florida all winter was an M, so it's the first time I'm using the MH. So slightly stiffer, which for jigging the bucktail is perfect. Okay, you're going to get a very good look at the retrieve speed on this one. So sometimes the hit feels like a tap, other times it feels like weight. A lot of times when you're bringing the jig at you like this, it's just slack. Well, you know, the fish grabs it, goes at you. You feel slack, you set the hook. Well, this is good to see. There are a lot of fluke here. You know, I might switch to a gulp shrimp because there'll be less maintenance. I don't have to mess around with them all the time. Yeah, the sand eels tend to get pulled around on the hook and you have to keep straightening them out, and the shrimp stay on better than that. However, I did go to the shrimp, which is something I do. I fished when the fish are eating crabs and shrimp. You know what? It didn't work well. I fished it a little bit and went right back to the sand eel. So you won't get to see that because I cut that part out. So yeah, these sand eels really do work better, work quite well when there's some bait around, as is the case here. And I think the bait is mostly sand eels that are coming in. Small fluke, same place I had them before. So a little break in the bar behind me. Alright, a small one, but at least it's a fluke. Yeah, I'm going to start really battling sea robins here, and like I said, you can just, you have to make a move, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep working up and down this bar, but it's going to get real challenging. Whereas they're normally in the first spot that I mentioned, where I first started the trip, now they're also up in the shallows, and it's like one after the other. So I'm continually trying to move along this edge. You see a nice shot there of what I've got to my right, and there's plenty more of that to my left. So I'm just trying to move up and down, because as I move, I'm getting a little bit different current profiles, different rips, different depths, and I'm just trying to get away from these sea robins, which are really beginning to overtake things. And if you look straight down in the water just to my left there, that grass coming through, there's a load of that in the water. So while I'm trying to avoid the sea robins, I'm also trying to move around the grass patches. And yeah, that's another thing. You really can't do much about weed except move away from it. Sometimes wading it out works. As the tide gets, especially on an incoming, later into the incoming, it usually gets a little bit better. So judging by how long it takes for my jig to hit the bottom, I'm guessing I'm casting into about 12 feet of water here, so that means I'm going to be working up a slope. and it's important to work that jig all the way in close to you, because as you get up the slope, a lot of times those fish will follow over it, and that's what's going to happen here. There we go. All right, you're going to see quite a sequence here. I don't understand why there's no market for sea robins. Everybody is always saying how good they are to eat. Every time I post something like this, people say, "Oh, you should try eating them." I have tried them. I don't think they're all that great. They were kind of boring and bland, but people apparently enjoy them. Certainly, the meat is fine. It's an edible fish. They just seem to blanket the bottom. At times, it's getting worse and worse. Every season, there seems to be more and more of these things. I don't understand why there's not a market. Look at that. There's two. There's a third one following it in. In France, I was in France one time, and the first thing I saw out on the street, it's three there, was a fish market, and they had what they called gurnards. They were sea robins. They were these things. Yep. Hopefully someday somebody will reduce this population a bit. And then here we go. I'm not only am I fighting the robins, I'm fighting the weeds. Some trips are tough, and this is one of them. And I'm just trying to work my way around all of this stuff. But wow, these sea robins are just not giving me a chance here. And I'm moving between these fish, just not getting away from them. And the setting here is that land in front of me is a barrier island. On the other side of that is the ocean. To my left, maybe a mile away, not quite, there's an inlet, so water's pouring in. Beautiful setup to be washing bait in here on the incoming current. All right, as time passes and the water comes up a little bit, a lot of these rips change. Like before, the water was kind of almost back eddying here in this one area, and it was getting very weedy, but now it's kind of blown through, and the weed has left, and there's a few fish here. So I really had to stay on the move on this trip to get away from weed and sea robins, and yeah, I ended up catching 21 fluke. I just couldn't do any size, and I think had I been had less interference from the robins and the weeds, that I probably would have done better and would have had some better fish. I'm going to show you that YouTube award in a second. If you like this video, please hit the like button. If you're not already a subscriber, please subscribe. Okay, so this is what you get for 100,000 subscribers. So let's see what we have here. I can do this without cutting myself. Okay, what do we got? Okay, what do we got here? Unbelievable. There we go. Aha, we've got some kind of a letter here. You've just done something that very few YouTube creators accomplish. You have astonishing 100,000 people subscribe to your channel. Okay, that's a lot to read. All right, so what do we got? This is it. Well, that's kind of nice. It's got some weight to it. Presented to John Skinner Fishing for passing 100,000 subscribers. Wow, that is actually pretty cool. And yeah, so I thank all of my subscribers for helping to contribute to that so I could reach this milestone. And yeah, all right. Thank you.